I'm going to restart that video because I flipped it upside down.
I'm not a skeptic. I'm a ghost virgin. I've never met a ghost or seen a ghost.
Fair enough. You guys can all see me in there. I'm orange, red, and yellow, right? Everything around me is blue and black, right? Those are the colder areas in there. This is set to black, cold, white, hot. This particular camera is used by firemen and mechanics and plumbers to find leaks, fires, and all kinds of things. So that's the way I have it set up, black, cold, white, hot. So black and blue are going to be the coldest areas in here. Really what we're looking for are things that are blue and black to start moving on their own. So coming across something that's already orange and yellow would make complete sense, especially if we can't see it with the naked eye. Now, this thing will fluctuate when we don't have a base temperature of somebody's skin in here. Obviously, my skin, 97 and 99 degrees, better not be over that. Right. It's going to fluctuate if it's not in the screen. So when I move it, you're going to see that the ground and things in the tree and whatnot are going to turn orange, red, and yellow. So we're going to take me out of the picture, and you guys can... Right, so that's going to be the warmest thing inside of there. So... Again, what we're looking for, blue and black. This thing records audio as well, and it's already recording video. So, who's super excited to use one of these guys?
Michael?
I would tell you the last teenager I handed this to, they dropped it and scratched my screen. So, I had to get a new screen protector today. So, you're going to hold it horizontal just like that all night long. The red square means that it's recording, so try not to flip it around and all that mess, because what happens with that is I send it over to YouTube, and then I transfer it over to my website, so that way it's all one nice continuous video for you. If you hit that red square by accident, and it turns to a circle, you need to let me know, because then I have to put some video together. It just takes a little bit longer for me to do that. I don't know how many pieces I'm working with. Alright, so where do we want to go with this? Spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. The first one that we're going to use, who does not know what a spirit box is? It's okay if you don't? Okay, perfect. So, it's okay. Spirit boxes are FM radio sweepers. It's going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations at a very quick rate. Okay, the reason why we do that is usually the white noise that Zach Bagans has you listen to, and he tells you what he thinks he heard in it. So spirit boxes can be used in different ways. That's why we use 3 different types. This one in particular, I have it slowed down on purpose. I want the radio chatter to come through. I want the DJs, the song lyrics, and the commercials to come through. It's a 50-50 shot. It might be a message based on the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about, or something happening with us, basically. So again, it's all about what we can actually catch out of it. The cool thing about this one is that it records the entire sweep for us, even when it's on mute, without any outside noise. So when I give you your recording back tomorrow, it's literally just going to be a sweep of radio stations. I'll give you anywhere between 10 to 20 things that I heard within it. Might be relevant, might not be, but it'll at least teach you how to listen to this particular recording. If it is relevant, I'm always going to give you a verifiable link, so that way you have somewhere to go to see where I got my information, and you're going to remember, hopefully, part of the stories from what you're about to hear from me tonight. I love this device. It's probably my favorite tool that I have so far. So, Skeptic, I believe this is going to go to you. You seem like somewhat of a chatterbox. I need somebody pretty chatty. You haven't said a word. So, you have one button.
One button.
That's all you need to worry about. It's
okay.
A wheel at the very top of this.
Okay.
You control the volume. There's going to be certain areas where we might be too close to, like, horses and barns and whatnot, and I'll say keep it audible to you only. So obviously Ashley can help out with this, so that way you can kind of verify what she's listening for.
So, do I want it to be...
You don't need any antenna.
Okay.
I don't need it broken off, and then we don't have a signal at all. Alright, so my wife also decided she's going to buy me all new cases today, so now I'm like figuring out where the hell everything is.
Do you want me to turn volume on this?
Not when I'm telling stories and explaining things. I'll say spirit boxes up, because there's going to be several tonight.
Okay. Is the microphone in a certain place that I should not? Oh no, it's not a microphone.
It's not.
Okay.
The
Cool.
speaker is the entire left-hand side of that front.
Okay. So, keep my hand on it. Got it.
Ash, you're going to be my my assistant tonight, because it seems like she's going to be a lot of help.
Me?
She looks like she's going to need a lot of help.
She's going to need help, yes.
I'm fine. I have got this.
She's going to need help, yes.
I need help.
So let's stick with spirit boxes for just a minute. This one is a phone app. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save all those words to a list. Okay? 80% of this is absolute bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. Okay, so pardon the French, but there's no other way to explain it. It's meant to be a game. The other 5 to 20%, I'll be able to verify why it's relevant. if that makes sense. There'll be very specific answers. I'm not looking for broad. It says dead right now. Those are very broad terms. I want somebody's color of their shirt. I want the correct answer out of this thing. So I'm going to clear out last night's terms. They had 82, which is actually quite a bit. I normally average about 55. And only because you haven't said a word, this one's going to go to you. So all you need to do is hold it and let us know what the words say as they come up. And then I'll show you. Guys, our first location is haunted. It just doesn't have a long history. It's really a place for me to kind of go into further hands-on training with this, with each device. So I'll literally bounce all around all 6 of you, show you something else about your device, and then move on to the next person. And then we'll go actually learn some real history. So, where do we want to go to next? Because I'm going to have you help her out quite a bit, I didn't realize she was going to have so many questions. You're going to go with the simple EMF, okay? So it's going to help you guys stop and be able to ask. It's a K2. Okay. So the K2 meter, this is very popular on your TV shows, right? You guys have all seen these, at least on YouTube or whatever. They measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. That's why they use them. They're very sensitive. They won't debunk these for you in real time. The first one is natural, comes from the earth. That's why it's not doing anything. The next thing is going to be electronic devices or like parking meters, wiring, anything like that. It's going to make it go into a rhythm or a pulse. We don't want that either. That's a man-made object. We want this thing to go a little nuts. Okay, so when it goes a little nuts, always watch it for about 10 to 15 seconds, see if there's a rhythm there. If there's no rhythm, hopefully something else is going off too. I don't get excited with one device is going off. So if you get a term that's relevant, I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let's wait to see if something else does something. That's kind of how this rolls. And you guys are like, where do I get?
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
What's the name y'all keep saying? Zach something?
Zach
Bagans, yeah.
Who is that?
He's the lead host for Ghost Adventures.
It's a TV show on the Travel Channel. It's like 23 seasons.
Okay,
in.
so
he also has a museum.
Okay, hold on. Let me explain this for like somebody that's not a ghosty person. Okay, so imagine that douche bro that wears Ed Hardy and drinks at Chili's near your hometown. That is Zach Baggins. If he tells you that he hears voices.
I know him.
Okay, thank you.
I do. Okay, I got you.
Spiky black hair, wears a respirator, talks about his asthma, but it's like, dude, you're going in fucking old buildings. Like, of course you're gonna have black mold and shit. Just like either die or get better. Anyway, spiky black hair, Ed Hardy jeans, douche.
Gotcha. And I know exactly who you're talking about now. Okay.
Yeah.
So you might want to.
No, they're fine. They're totally fine. Totally fine.
Like a sailor. Just checking. Wait, we cuss like sailors.
I'm not their mom, so I don't really care.
There you go.
CPS can't hold me responsible.
Now, Zach Bagans is pretty much the fakest ghost person because all he does is commercialize everything. Really what I do is to prove guys, like he just gives guys like me a bad name. He really does.
Yeah. When he shows up in buildings and tries to pick fights with ghosts, he's like,
Yeah.
what if you're here? Come at me, bro. And it's like, dude, it's a ghost. Like, leave
Sit
it
down.
alone.
Sit down.
All right, my show, my turn. You guys are going to be a team, so we're going to be working with lasers. No offense, ladies, but y'all had a few drinks, or at least one that I know of. So lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. The reason why is because there's a laser law in Charleston. If they're shown up at a car or anything that's not on the ground, I get into a lot of trouble. Why do I use these? Because you guys can't see where the lasers are from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. Okay, so again, what we're looking for here is something to go super quick right through it. And the green dots, these are fresh batteries. It's actually, I can tell when it has fresh batteries because it's really bright. And the tip twists, so we want to try to keep as many dots as possible. So if you pull it out of your pocket and all of a sudden you look like this, you know you can probably pull up 1,000 of them. So with this guy in particular, it gives us red squares. Why do I want red squares? Because in the event something comes through and we capture it on a picture or a video, then I can put it in 3D software and you guys have a full 3D view of the apparition that we caught. So really cool stuff. Have I caught things with these? Absolutely. Have I caught things with every device you guys are using? So far. But yeah, both lasers go to one person. I see 2 hands free. These are going to go to you.
It's a lot of pressure.
To be honest with you, because you're such a novice in asking who Zach Bagans was, is the reason why I gave those to you. Because those aren't allowed to be used in all locations that we're going to go to. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Perfect. So, is this like mom, dad, kids? Is that the dynamic?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, mom, you got the nice simple job. And no offense, guys, but I don't give this to teenagers because they don't know what the hell it is. So,
Does that have film in it?
It's a digital camera.
Oh,
Come on,
damn.
now. I didn't go that low.
Well,
So,
you said kids wouldn't know what it is.
they still don't know what it is because they take pictures on their phones. They've never seen these. They think they're relics. So I just changed the settings on this guy this morning. So the really cool thing that I found in the settings, because I'm researching different types of light, is it actually has near infrared setting on there, which means I can be able to see those red lines better. So go ahead and shine one of your lasers down for me. Really what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking pictures through
So
the lasers.
this way,
Correct.
not down.
Exactly.
Okay.
I know what the dots look like. I want to see
Okay.
what's coming through them.
Okay.
So again, it's going to be kind of a at the hip kind of thing. There's no flash on it either. We don't want any false positives.
Okay.
There's an on and off button because it will shut off from time to time.
Okay.
And then the big button is obviously to shoot the
To
pictures.
take the pictures.
So,
So
and then
at what point will I be thinking I need to take pictures?
whenever I say lasers are good, if he's
Okay.
flashing his lasers down, then you obviously want to be somewhat
Okay.
close to him taking pictures through.
Okay.
So don't cross the streams. That Ghostbuster jokes, but it actually works here.
So how do you know which one to use?
Whichever one you feel like.
Okay, good
So
enough.
it's just a matter of, like, you can even do them together. They just try to keep the sprays apart.
Cross the-
Gotcha.
Okay.
Because honestly, when they're together, you can't see them through the pictures. So
Okay.
just it is what it is.
Okay.
All right, so the new tool that I'm going to be using for myself tonight, it's a little noisy, and I'm going to be testing it out. I tested some of it out at home today, but I want to see what it does in the field. It's a millimeter. So really what this guy does is it creates an EMF field around my little antenna here.
I got really excited. I'm sorry.
So whenever something is going to get close to this antenna that we can't see, it's going to go off and make a noise. It also measures ambient temperature. So if you capture something that's super weird, I can see a major temperature drop that's happening around the yellow probe. So it's, again, all new to me. So I haven't used one of these before. I actually had one of my guests come on and he had one and I was like obsessed with it. So I'm just going to do a quick demo just so you guys can see what it does. And I'm going to have to play with it based on noise and all of the other mess that it does. So again, when something, yeah, we're already getting something. Let me reset it. Okay. Probably, honestly, we have parking meters down the street here. All of the electrical lines for that run across our sidewalk. So that's probably what's making it go off. But technically, you can see as I get closer to the antenna, it's going to go off a little bit further up. Again, I haven't used this guy yet. I literally got it this afternoon. And that is super annoying, isn't it? As far as the noise. So, the cool thing is I can keep it pocketed and pull it out when I need to.
My radio stayed up on station. It's supposed to be.
No, you broke it.
Oh, dude. Had it for 20 minutes. I can't have broken it yet.
We're going to restart your recording. It's actually been acting a little weird. I need to replace it.
No, it's fine. I just was like, is it supposed to skip around when it hears stuff? Or
No,
like.
it's going to skip around on its own.
I was imagining like scan on my car radio where it just like plays
Basically.
2 seconds.
Like that?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, cool.
That's
go.
what it's supposed to do. Yes.
All right. Sorry I didn't mention that earlier.
Nope,
My
you're
bad.
good. Alright, so we start here for a reason. Of course, this place is haunted, and we're out of the way of other tours. Finish bagging this up. Because, of course, she bought me these
put
two
this in
huge
your
cases
hoodie?
that have to fit just right. Love my wife. I
She
do.
means well.
She did mean
She
well.
just wants to keep you all organized.
She bought me the millimeter, like, without me knowing. She's like, I saw it was on your wish list for ghost stuff, and I just bought it. Okay. I didn't even know it was coming until the other day. Alright, so, this place used to be called Big John's. It was a bar. Yes, it's a wonderful building that's being renovated right behind you. So Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. I'm not a football guy. I had to memorize these stats for you, just so you guys know. So, Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel, if they were of age or not. Meaning to drink. So, and not water. One night, two guys come in. They're not of age. Big John gets upset. Tells the bartender, get them out of here. So they leave, pretty mad. They come back the next night, and he tries to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's happening. They get into a little bar fight on the ground. They're beating each other up. Big John's winning. All of a sudden, 2 shots were fired, and the bullet lands and hits John in the neck, and then bounces off of him and lands in the wall. Big John gets up and goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, and get the 2 guys on the floor in an ambulance. Now, nobody died in that story. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. I say allegedly because they're renovating the place. I don't know if they filled it in or not. So people that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, lightheaded, whatever, just kind of light sicknesses. It's the only place I've ever gotten random EMFs as well. So, and again, when I say random, I can walk in there tonight, have nothing. I can walk in there tomorrow and have something completely different. A totally different signal. It's not from anything inside the walls. It would literally have to be touching that device. So I bring this up on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect anybody. If anybody starts to feel any of those type of symptoms, please speak up. Big deal. I'm not going to say that people haven't passed out on this tour and psychics have walked away saying this is too much. It happens. So I don't say this stuff to scare you because it's not a scary tour, right? And I did explain that from the beginning. I say it is a health hazard. Now, let's get our minds off of our own health, right? Because none of us want a headache of thinking about a headache. So, you guys taken other ghost tours around or any kind of tours around Charleston yet?
Not Charleston.
Okay, so we did have an earthquake in 1886. This is allegedly is where the first death occurred. So a piece of the mantle that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building. A piece of it from the front fell off, struck somebody in the head, and killed them. I say allegedly because I don't have any proof other than stories through the grapevine. And it's also a great story to get your mind off your own health. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna head this way. I talk too much. You guys gotta shut me up from time to time.
He's gotten like 5 words.
Where are your words?
What's up, Marissa? Mine was just tight.
Tight?
Not tight. TYP.
Type?
Oh, do you have words coming up on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Marissa, type.
3, 4, 5. I got Marissa. I got type and
Remember.
Okay.
He said him. Did he? Took. New one, took.
All right. Beautiful stop number 1. You're going to see I'm a big fan of parking lots because it allows me and my teams to explore a little bit. And of course, I'm going to take you to places of historical significance. You're getting EMF already, which is good. So notice that it's not steady. I don't see any kind of rhythm in there. It's just kind of showing up from time to time. That's a good sign. I'll be using my millimeter near you for sure to see what's going on. So welcome to what I call the Big Red Barn Lot. So this is where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. Okay, so the horses are inside the barn down at the other end. So those of you with noisy spirit boxes and my noisy millimeter, I'm going to be staying away from those windows. Okay, so actually you're the only one with the noisy spirit box. I've kept the other one in the bag. So also no lasers inside those windows. Absolutely will spook those ponies. If you wanted a jump scare, that's the way to do it. So what's the significance of this place? This is the same red barn where we kept horses that delivered milk and eggs to Charleston. This is a great place for us to all practice and learn about our devices. Why are you carrying a TV around with you? That thing's giant.
It's my phone.
I thought my phone was
big.
big.
It's normal size. She's miniature. That's why.
Wow.
I'm
Holy
the size
crap.
of like a 12-year-old boy, so.
Okay. So let's talk about the spirit boxes, and that includes the digital word list that you have going on, and yours, of course. So this is not TV, where we're going to say is somebody here. You have another word? Took. Again, very vague.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for very specific. This is not a is somebody here. That's a yes or no question. If somebody says no, first off, that means somebody's here. Okay? They just lied to you. The second thing is if you hear a real estate commercial and you, the DJ or whatever says houses, you think you heard yes. We're staying away from yes or no questions all night long. It's too vague. Can't prove any of that stuff. I need something more specific. So we can all agree that the barn is red. If you're colorblind, I'm sorry. I'm telling you it's red. So now we're going to ask, what color is the barn? If somebody's here, please tell us what color that barn is. Now, I want you to also keep in mind that this thing is like Bumblebee from Transformers, okay? It's got to find the right terms and phrases to be able to get back to us. We might not hear the term red, but we might hear something that is specifically red, like fire truck, or barns are normally red. Fire is normally red. Those are terms where I will accept as, okay, that's something. Let's see if we can get something else. It's a start. So you're going to try that question 2, 3, maybe 4 tries out of both your types of spirit boxes. If you don't get a direct answer, we're going to open it up. What's inside the spirit, or what's inside the spirit box? What's inside the barn? So now we got animals, we got draft horses. That's their breed, so you can get the word draft. We can get horses, animals, hay, delivery, milk, eggs, calcium, protein, and eggs. Like all of those things kind of open it up. This is about putting clues together. So this is an easy spot. I want you to kind of treat your entire time with me as kind of a training course. This is beginner. The next one's intermediate. I'm going to give you questions and stuff you can ask and, start off the cuff of your own, but I'm not going to give you the answers. You're not going to know that the barn is red, if that makes sense. You're not going to know that George Washington's white horse is white. It's very, very specific things that you could hear out of your spirit boxes, and I'll only give you questions that I've asked and gotten direct answers to. So, with the spirit boxes, you guys can kind of roam around, especially, you can definitely stick with Amanda. I'm sorry, I'm getting names. I got to remember who's who here. Yeah, Amanda, Ash,
Caden,
Michael,
Rusty, Reagan.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That was a good start. I wouldn't have been
That
able
was
to
good.
do that.
Well, when I have 10, I'm like,
bartender.
He's a bartender.
Oh.
So names are a thing. Yeah.
again, I'm the guy who can't remember his characters. So go ahead and turn up your spirit boxes, and you guys can start wandering. Stay within the confines of the lot. Same thing with you. Thermal imaging, I do want to work with you a little bit more. And this way, if you want to hang out too, that way we can have a secondary, set of eyes. Because I do have thermometers that kind of help with debunking and proving things with that.
This one is safe to get closer to the barn. I won't disturb the horses with this one.
You will.
I will.
Just don't get too loud with it.
Okay.
So this is a place where you want to keep it audible to the two of you only.
Okay.
So they have fans in there, so kind of keep that in mind. The fans are usually running, so they don't hear everything that we're saying and doing out here.
Traffic noise.
Exactly.
That level is okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thermal imaging. So again, you're looking for those blue and black spots to move. You want to try to keep a person in view at all times. The reason I say that is because, let's get you a blank space. So go ahead and point your camera at the barn for me and tell me what you see.
a lot of red.
A lot of red. Watch what happens when I get into view. What happens to the barn now?
It is blue.
It changes color.
Yeah.
So now we have an array of color. We want to try to keep that array of color. I won't be able to see those colder spots moving unless there's a lot of temperature within that particular screenshot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're going to be the warmest things out here, flat out. Nobody here should be over 99 degrees, I don't think.
Yeah.
But we're going to be in that higher 90 range, whereas it's 61 to 62 degrees out here. So everything else is going to be holding that temperature within 3 to 5 degrees. So you want to try to keep somebody's skin intact.
Okay.
So if you want to partner up with your brother, dad, mom, doesn't matter. I mean, mom and dad got their own separate job that they're going to do. So it's whatever you want to do. But you're also recording audio at the same time. So in the event that I start using a spirit box with them, the answer can go anywhere. So the interesting thing is that we literally have, how many do I have out tonight? So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 pieces of audio. If they ask a question, what color's the barn? We can hear a red EVP when we watch that recording tomorrow. It could come up on my audio, or he could get the answer. A lot of times what I'll do is, like in the next lot, because I use a reverse spirit box from time to time. That's the whole different ballgame. I stopped using it a couple weeks ago. But I'll say, hey, Eliza, tell me how many people I brought with me. And somebody will turn around and say, it just said the number 6. They were 50 yards away and they had no idea what question I asked. It happens often. So the answer literally can go anywhere. Your TV shows and your YouTube videos, they're testing one device at a time. If you notice, I throw everything I got at it. So if I can record it, if I can prove something, again, I don't get excited over one gadget. I want them all. I want more than one. And if more than one's going to be more active than the rest, then I'm going to focus on that one and see what happens with the rest of the recordings. So again, this is real life stuff for me, guys. Like, this is what I do. And every night I got to dig through and do more research. But with yours, you just want to kind of keep at a slow pace. Obviously, there's going to be a little, after our next stop, we walk like 4 blocks. Just keep the same pace. You don't need to like slow around, but when we're stopped in a location like this, just nice slow movements. The slower the better.
Okay.
So it's not a cell phone technology, it's thermal imaging technology, which means it'll blur out from time to time if you move too quick.
Okay.
You'll see the pixels.
Yeah.
Like old video games.
Yeah.
So, like a Mario brother. So with the two of do you guys have the gist of what your lasers and the whole point of the
Yes,
camera?
I'm gonna shoot like this,
You got it.
making sure it's on.
Exactly.
Mine are never going to go out. They're
Never.
always going to go down.
Got it.
Got it.
Perfect. And I don't care if you take 500 pictures. And this
Okay.
whole, the NIR on there, the near infrared, that's something new for me. I normally just had it without a flash. So I'm testing this with you guys tonight because I might have an ultraviolet lens coming in next week. So we'll see if this is going to be productive for me. Some of the things that I taught with that, just to give you a gist of, sorry, I always say evidence, just so I can show you guys what you're looking for. And I can show him the video too, of things I caught with this video. Amazing stuff. Let's see. I'm on Facebook.
is our other son who has the one that'll tell him the words? Is he supposed to be asking the questions?
He can if he wants to.
Okay. I didn't know if he was supposed to ask questions or just...
So like that's lightened
Who's
up
on this
several
card?
times, but you obviously see some kind of circular something in there. I've never
like
seen.
this red area.
These are red squares. It should not be going in a circle at all.
Okay.
So with the green one, like this is a good one here. There's no hands.
What is that?
We don't know.
Huh.
But again, it actually has a little bit more of a shape because you see the dot.
No.
Like it's got more of a shape, and if it was the actual tip of the pen, we would see the hand there. There's no hand. Like it's obviously parking lot all right here, and they're pointing it down this way. Something came through it.
Huh.
I have no idea what it is. Plus, it doesn't fade out. So that's another weird thing. So my wife does all the photography and graphic design work for me. She designed the logo from scratch. So when I send her stuff like this, like she analyzes it like crazy because she knows lighting. She went to school for photography.
So you're gonna tell me when I need to do this?
You can do them in here. Just keep them off of vehicles. And
Just
move
not
on.
out. It
Right.
just needs to be at the ground. Oh.
And those lasers are strong enough to set off a car alarm. Just so you know. So we're gonna keep them off of vehicles too.
I'm gonna turn the camera.
There you go. So take a couple hundred pictures. I'm gonna follow up with the rest of the groups. We won't spend a lot of time in here. This is just a quick practice.
Okay.
Couple hundred.
Here, I want you to do it just so I can. Here, I'm gonna show you.
I like this one.
Like, I need to know, did I take a picture? I can't tell, like, what I'm looking at. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I... I mean, it just looks like a building to me. Did you get any words?
No, not really.
Did you ask it anything?
What
He
color
said you-
the barn is? What animals are inside the barn? How many windows are there? And it's intense.
Maybe it's sensing your energy.
I just saw like a black dot make the same pose. Yes.
So 2 buttons that you can kind of check into. I want to see the rest of the words, so I'm going to hit the little calendar to the right, and you can kind of flip through them and see what's come up so far. So I don't see anything relative. I'm never going to hit clear, and don't hit the red X's. Just hit the circle back to go back to your main screen.
All right.
So that way, if I say, hey, what words do we have?
Okay.
You can hit that calendar and kind of read them off.
Right.
That way I don't have to keep touching your phone. So everybody kind of have the gist of what's happening with all your devices?
I've taken a couple of pictures.
Okay.
I don't know what you're looking for. Do you want to look at the couple I've taken?
I go through them all in the morning.
Okay, I was like, because it just looks like a
Yeah, I blow
picture
them
of
up on
that
the
barn.
computer.
Okay,
So that way I
like,
can
I'm not
see.
seeing any actual laser on there, so I didn't
Yeah.
know.
So go ahead and take a picture of the laser just so you can
Like
kind of.
down here like
Yep.
that.
Again, so now you can see where the squares are.
Okay.
So I'm looking for those kind of white lines to kind of show up.
So, but I'm taking it like this.
Right. You want to
Okay.
go. Definitely want to go through it.
Okay.
You guys ready to move?
Okay.
Sword.
Now that everybody.
Hey, wife. The floor is hot as mom. Did you pipe on the floor? No, that's not how that works. You say ghosts are cold. No. The floor is not ghost. Nice. Very smart kid.
I'm getting there. I'm close.
Keep trying.
Telling you one of my favorite places. So just go ahead and turn your spirit box off. Just turn the volume all the way down. There's a lot of history here. So welcome to the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansions. So Charles and Eliza, they actually had a son named Charles and they had a nephew named Charles. Why your EMF's going off already? It's good. Good sign. I'll definitely have to play with the millimeter on here. So, but they had a son named Charles and a nephew named Charles. They were signers of the Constitution. So that's a major significance of this place, but there's more. I hate politics. We just got out of an election. We're going to move on. So I think we can all agree to that. Eliza and Charles got married at a young age. Again, I'm not going to give you answers to some of these questions that you might already have, but you can find out how old she was when she got married, for example. Because her father thought he was dying over in England, doing it all his kids home. She didn't want to go. This is the mid-1700s. So when she got married to Charles, it didn't give her citizenship. It just basically said, I'm not going anywhere. So with that said, Dad got better. Eliza was correct. And he starts sending over wedding gifts. One of those gifts happened to be indigo. Eliza was a botanist. She liked to experiment with plants a lot. So indigo was already here in Charleston. You guys have been driving around for at least a day or so. You've probably seen the word indigo and didn't realize it. It's a big prominent thing here. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Is anybody wearing blue jeans? Probably wearing it right now. Look at you. So that's how we still use it today. Not every denim company uses it, but most. But it started right here because this is where she started to experiment with it. Like I said, indigo was already here from our Gullah culture. That's basically the slaves that came over straight from Africa. So she had to learn from her slaves how to keep that plant cultivated in our very weird temperatures. Obviously, it's not hot here all the time. So she learned from them, and then they moved it over to Snee Farm in Mount Pleasant, which is about 20 minutes in a car ride from here, on another property, and they were able to make it a huge cash crop. She used her dad's contacts overseas to be able to sell it to all of the prominent people, kings, emperors, whoever was overseas. So if you think of the color royal blue, it comes from this term. This is a very touchy place. If I were to have a grand finale, this would be it. So Eliza's done a lot of things for this country, but we're going to ask a few weird questions first to kind of find out more about her. So you can ask how old she was when she got married. You can ask how old she was when she died. You can ask anything you want to about her death. How old she was, where did she die from, or what did she die from, where did she die, where is she buried, which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So if that tells you how important she was to the colonies, it's a pretty big deal. So, and these are all questions I've gotten the answers to directly. You can ask how many children she had. You can ask what happened to the mansion. Like, you can ask all of these type of questions. We're going to stay.
What was Charles's last name?
Pinckney.
Okay.
Like this street?
Yes.
Pink.
Okay.
Exactly.
Everything here is either named after something.
Yeah.
Names like people. Everything.
Most of it.
Catchy name for a drink I had just right. That's fine.
So, we're going to stay within the confines of the lot. No lasers on vehicles or above the walls. You can open up your spirit box a little bit louder than me because I'm not bothering anybody. As far as the camera, some people get a little funny about their cars being filmed, even though they have no idea. So if somebody comes by going to their car, you're just going to hold the cell phone kind of at waist level, just kind of like you're holding your own phone.
Okay.
We don't need anybody screaming at us. Ash, take a look at your EMF and look at that light blinking off in the distance. So that light doesn't always do that.
Yes.
Now, if you were to hold that EMF device up of yours, like you're going to take a selfie, you're probably going to get a spike here and then a spike there. Now, they're both going pretty quick right now, so if you were to film it and go frame by frame, it's usually within 2 frames of each other. You get a spike and it gets a spike. It's kind of like the
Gotta keep scanning it.
pulling out of here and affecting that very weak light. So, again, lots of...
Look at her. Look at her feet.
The tour guide said, she's like, you notice there's a lot of beautiful and street lights and there's whole light in cemetery. It's very bright.
Sometimes. That's the question, son. Sometimes the light flickers.
What does it say?
It's been saying lash.
Lash.
Lash. Like lash out?
So what was her name?
Something.
Eva?
No. No.
don't even remember.
Hey.
No.
This is
If we get stuff from it, great, but it's not a place like Eliza Pinckney of stuff that I can prove.
No, it's fine. It was just weird. You
Eliza.
mentioned lights, and that was a light thing that they talked about last night.
The light's different.
At a different level. So, you've used the REM pod before?
You just have to come with the red one. Oh, you like the red one?
Yeah, it's cooler.
Oh, look at that right now.
Why is it doing it?
He said it doesn't do that. Like, it doesn't flash like that.
more back.
So if we come back-
Are you seeing anything?
Hold on for a second. Don't drop it. I need that.
So I feel like we need to come back here later and see if it's flashing.
And see, do you see it? That light. Are you done? It hurts your back to hold it?
I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Do you want to see something I've actually caught on there from this lot?
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah,
So
man.
you
let
know
me
what
see
you're
some
looking
ghosts."
for?
Yeah. So we're just gonna go take a step back. So this is that corner right up there. Let's turn the volume down. This is obviously the wall, and there's two living people that just walked past. Let me rewind it. So right above the wall, you're gonna see two orange heads. You see them?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna fast forward a little bit, and you're gonna see two black heads going the opposite way as soon as Facebook wants to cooperate. So they're gonna be going along past the wall, coming this way as soon as it focuses back up again. Right about there.
Oh.
So it's too far away to be a car. So I've had this analyzed by a fireman. Just I've sent it over to them. Like, give me a frame by frame. They're like, we don't have anything.
Yeah.
Because they've been on the tour, so they know how far the streets are and stuff.
Right.
So they're like, send me the video, I'll analyze it for you. I'm like, sweet. So yeah, I've done it several times. But yeah, you're basically looking for those blue and black things to be moving on their own, especially if it has a
Okay.
shape like that. Like, I caught two things over this past weekend. I just haven't had a chance to clip them and put them into an evidence folder yet. But really cool stuff. It doesn't always have to be in the shape of a person,
Yeah.
but if it is, even better. Like, we'll take it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what you're looking for. It's not the
All
most
right.
exciting tool, but when it's ready, it's ready. That's why you're filming. But yeah, we're getting all kinds of things based off of this.
What year were you born? Really hoping he says she.
It. Dang. Gender neutral. Hey, quit walking out of frame.
Why are you pointing it at me?
'Cause it needs flash.
Watch out for the floor. The floor is made of ghosts. No, I'm talking about our joke, really.
Oh.
This is actually cool. This thing is cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's nuts. It's also taking ambient temperature. So if it drops more than 5 degrees, it'll give me a kind of warning. So again, it's kind of a multi-tool for everything you guys are all using.
And he was explaining how this tool works and like if something kind of like close to it, like and it beeps. So then it started beeping and I told your dad he wasn't very good at this because I wanted him to shine the light so he could take a picture and it stopped.
And we're back up to 61 degrees. It was at
And I
55.
said, so he does this, whoever we're seeing or whatever we're seeing, it doesn't want his picture taken. And so, and then my camera didn't work the next time it started beeping. And when I finally got it on, it literally stopped as soon as I got the camera.
So they just light or can DJ?
No, it was scanning across multiple radio stations.
Okay.
That was very shortly, like very
It was
quickly.
2 questions
And 2 answers.
and 2.
Well, what are the questions and answers?
It was about the president that was involved in her funeral.
Okay, and? What was the answer?
You couldn't tell. I couldn't really hear it.
Okay.
So, I just noticed it was like
It
2
was
female voices
distinct
that were...
breaks in like the static type stuff.
So I will tell you which DJs and song lyrics. Like, I don't care what gender it is. I just look at the message. Like what I'm doing when I'm listening to this in the morning is I'm just writing them down. I'm not putting something's touching it. I'm just writing stuff down. I don't write female or anything near it. And that way you guys can kind of see the messages as a whole. And then I give you the audio marker so that way you guys can go find it on your own.
I feel like we watched something that had this green speckly stuff.
SLS camera.
No, it was from the Xbox thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they
SLS
use-
camera.
They'll use an Xbox camera.
The Connect, yeah.
That just went all the way up to 15. And then went away.
That? Did I just say don't ask questions?
I think so.
Any other words?
Do you want to hold my finger box?
Lord.
This is right here. I've got pencil, sometimes, lash, growth,
Pencil would make sense. I'll explain. Like I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. I'm gonna give you the answers. So pencil would still make sense. And again, even though we're asking questions, and you might not be, but they're still gonna tell us what they want to. So again, if I can relate it, it would make complete sense.
You don't do anything.
Oh, it started at soup. That's what it started. Soup.
Stars.
Okay.
I have another question. Are you wanting these dots in the picture or straight?
Straight through 'em.
Okay. I know I asked it earlier, but I was making sure I didn't want to ask that.
And it's like it's at absolute zero right now.
Okay.
Make sure it's still working. That's crazy though. It went all the way up to 15.
That's so.
What? Think it's an
Even this last, like this last time when it was just going up, I got
What did it say?
of that one.
So I'm gonna move just so I can kind of learn more about this. Again, we're gonna spend a good 10-15 minutes here total.
Okay.
So let's get some more questions asked. It's still swiping for me, so I'm gonna play with this thing and learn more about it.
Okay. What questions
Which
are you
pod did you end up using? Was the pod or the
George.
Yeah. Yep.
Normal. I heard election maybe.
And George and election. What's
I got a
this
bunch
say?
of
Hair. Normal. What color was your hair?
What color was it?
Eliza, right?
Dude, you're not talking to the phone.
Weird.
What was your middle name, Eliza?
Because I understand that better. But to get off your
Hey,
green, you get
get this.
1.38, 1.4. So you're getting anywhere up to probably 1.
Yeah, 10 You getting the hang of it?
That lady.
What'd you say? Ask her questions.
what I'm trying to figure out. Like, that's my first question when I go to learn about this tomorrow morning. Like, read more about it. I will tell you, when it spiked at like 15, it was all the way to the red. Which is weird, but sometimes... Watch the cars. So it's almost like it's debunking itself. So if this isn't spiking, and that is, that's where I feel like I need to reset it. It just might be a little too sensitive. Obviously, if I get this spike here, and this is spiking at the same time, then that is almost like my double indicator, is how I'm taking that. I can reset it and recalibrate. I'm also watching the temperature. It starts to drop. Like, it was like 59 degrees back there. It's like 61 point something over here.
Is somebody along for the tour?
Yep, I get it all the time. Alright, what other words are we getting on the word list?
Who was the president that was in her funeral?
Did you get an answer?
Since I got George.
That would be your answer. Here's your answer. George Washington.
What was her name? What was her name?
Her name was Eliza. Pinckney.
Eliza.
Eliza.
So, guys, that's pretty definitive. I want to spend at least 5 more minutes here where you guys are kind of spread out a little bit asking me a
Really
question.
weird question. You just said, what was the word that popped up on your word list? He said George, and this said 3G, and I know 3G is a thing, but it's not a date thing. There's 3Gs in George Washington.
So I will also tell you, that's very cool. I didn't think of that as a wordsmith, but I've gotten just the letters G and W on there before too. And remember, George, even though it's one syllable, is a lot of sounds. Georgia. George. Like, it's a lot to give out.
Yeah, see, for me, 3G is like old technology.
Right.
Shit now is 4G, 5G.
Yeah.
3G.
There's 3Gs in George Washington. It's kind of cool.
Can somebody else hold the scary box?
Nope. Not a scary box at all. You're doing great. I want you to keep going.
Not a fan of the scary box.
Not a scary box. All right, let's get some more questions. Let's see what else we can. I'm going to work with you for a little bit since everybody's going to be asking questions. So let's kind of go back up to where that corner was.
Okay.
Since there's no cars up there, so let's kind of go up this way and see what we can. That video I showed you, the reason why they brought me up here is because they thought they saw shadows. So I came up here to kind of debunk some things for them. So I thought they were getting like some light things off the lamppost, and I didn't catch that stuff until the next morning.
Yeah.
So again, I never know what I'm going to see until the next day. So even if you don't see anything tonight, it's perfectly fine. You're basically just a cameraman.
Okay.
So, but yeah, this is a weird spot where I'm gonna go in the center, and I want you to just try to keep me somewhere in that picture. Maybe pan it side to side slowly, because I want to turn this guy on and kind of play with it with your piece on as well to see if any temperature changes.
Okay.
So it says it's about 61.6 degrees over here. Is that what your crosshairs say?
Mine says 70, like almost 71. That's on you though.
Yeah, go to right where my device is at. Let's see how accurate it is.
Yeah, it's still like 70, 71.
Now it says 61.
I'm at like 72.
Are you getting the wall or are you getting me like right around the device?
The crosshair is on the device.
On the device. Yeah, it's still reading 61 and not changing.
So how did Eliza die?
So I'm gonna go into all the answers here once I get. It looks like we got everybody gathered up. You guys ready for some answers? So Eliza died at the age of 70 in Philadelphia from breast cancer. I want you to also remember this was 1793, so we're going off of medical records. There was really no cancer back in the late 1700s. She was up in Philadelphia, and that's also where she was buried. So if that also answers the question of why we don't visit cemeteries, if you were dead, are you going to hang out where you're buried? No, you're going to go to places that you love. So she travels all the way from Philadelphia down here to give us some answers. George Washington was the pallbearer, and I didn't even learn that until something came up on the reverse spirit box twice in the same week where I had George Washington come through loud and clear. I'm like, there's got to be a connection. That was just a few months ago. So I just started adding that question to the montage. So the mansion did burn down in 1861. There was a great fire. Charleston has had dozens of great fires, and it always ends in whatever year it happened in. So it doesn't just take out one building. It takes out, like literally this one went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. So it literally went all the way across the full island of Charleston itself. This was just happened to be in the way. The only pictures of the mansion are after the fire. So if anybody asks what happened to the mansion, normally I get smoke, black cloud, anything along those lines, candle, flame, anything that has fire in it. Eliza had 4 children, so ironically one of them was named George. That was an infant that did not make it. If you noticed, I told you nothing about their children other than there was one that was a signer of the Constitution. If you start poking around what happened to her kids, usually all activity will stop. So I usually don't go into the details of that. And
Interesting. I did, and it said leave. I asked that question. That was the first thing. I asked how many children she had, and he said it just said leave.
Yeah. So I caught an EVP here about 2 weeks ago now, and it was a disembodied voice, which means it wasn't radio chatter. It came through your spirit box and it said, just leave us alone. And it was over 11 different radio stations. So it was definitely not a radio DJ or a song lyric, commercial or anything. It was just leave us alone. And I kind of came back the next night and told him, guys, I've been here for 2 years. I'm not leaving you alone. You keep giving me more stuff. So we keep hearing you guys talk. We're going to keep going. So 4 children, 3 sons, 1 daughter. And the reason why the word pencil makes sense is because the daughter ended up moving to the Myrtle Beach area. She married in Horry. Myrtle Beach is in Horry County. So obviously it's not a quick car ride to go up to Myrtle Beach. They would have had to write letters back and forth. So pencil does make sense. I do get pen, ink, all kinds of things in this location. It's weird that we didn't get anything wrapped around our garden. I get a lot of things wrapped around our garden. Shovel, dirt, flower, bulbs, specific flowers, things like that. She was a botanist. And that's basically what her hobbies were. Her husband was a politician. So I will get the husband. We'll poke through from time to time too. He'll tell us which political party he belonged to. I've had the word Jefferson come up. He was part of the Jeffersonian Republican Party, which is very interesting. So I'll get Jefferson and Republic all in the same night. His birthday and his day of death are in the same month, so I'll get October that shows up twice. All kinds of things happen here. Again, this is kind of my grand finale if I were to have one. There's a lot of activity that happens here. What are the questions that I have you guys ask, or what else did you guys ask, and what other answers did we get?
I asked what we were doing here, and I swear I think I heard messing.
Kind of stirring things up a little bit.
I also asked if her name started with an E or an I, because Eliza can start with either. So
did you get a letter?
I didn't hear anything, but I was also not standing directly next to her. So
fair enough.
I asked how did she die? how old she was. When I asked how did she die, all that came up was painful.
It's painful.
Breast cancer is, I imagine it's pretty painful.
I got leave.
Interesting. So again, I'm not going to heed that warning of leaving her alone. This is a big place for me, obviously. So this millimeter thing of mine is pretty interesting. So we are kind of playing with the different temperatures with the camera to kind of see where things are at. So, and again, I've already kind of compared it with your EMF. So again, it's a learning curve for me. So it's probably going to take me a week of me playing with it to find out what it really does and how it works. We are going to be walking up about 4 blocks now up East Bay Street. It's definitely no laser zone. Your EMF meter is going to go crazy because of the perking meters. You can ignore it. Please keep filming, but again, just keep pace with us. If you want to listen to your spirit box and you pay attention to your spirit box, minutes till we leave. I know, Eliza. I'm moving them along. But your spirit box, I'm listening for names. I'm not going to tell you why or which names, but we are definitely listening for names. We're going to go up to Lodge Alley. So no Googling Lodge Alley along the way. What actually happened there. We'll be very brief there. There'll be a quick legend and lore part of your tour where we'll kind of be in a busier area, and then we're going to do one huge final investigation, kind of like what we did here, and we'll spend about 15 minutes in that location. So we're going to go learn some quick stories along the way. It's almost kind of giving you guys a mind break, so you guys get to just kind of hang out and point to the city. If you're going to take pictures, by all means take pictures.
Okay.
The cool thing is with this new setting I have on there, when we get to Lodge Alley, I'm going to kind of have you lead the way and take some pictures down the alley before we go down it.
Okay.
I do get weird light anomalies down there all the time. I want to see what happens with the near infrared setting, so I'll be curious.
Okay.
So you guys are kind of my experimentation group tonight. If you don't mind. It's really great out here too, doesn't it?
Ever?
Probably.
Are we ever gonna leave? Yeah, we're
There's a storm
leaving.
coming in tomorrow. That's why.
Bye bye.
Is this what you got hoping for?
We didn't
We had
really
no
know.
idea.
Yeah.
We're getting back over 6,000.
About half of the people that come go Sunday with me, they have no idea I'm putting them to work. Looks like the boys are enjoying themselves.
So what's the
There's
United
two
States
connections. I don't.
So
I'm
that's
looking
where
expecting
basically
this.
any type of trade would come through to Charleston, including slaves. So slaves would actually go right through the steps of
It's like George. George just doesn't randomly come up.
And George doesn't come up here.
Yeah. So he's here all the time. I don't like chores.
That's how we never asked her she died. Did you hear that? Huh? He was explaining what the custom house was.
Don't put one on that flyer.
The custom house. It was a trade center, so everything that came in the port was sold at the custom house, including slaves. They get sold there. They moved down to other places.
Y'all are even here? This is good weather for me. 65, I'm comfortable. 75, I'm in t-shirt and shorts. And then,
Not super hot or anything.
no, we got that big storm coming.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's going to be like tornado weather, all kinds of stuff. I got canceled tours for tomorrow. Like, really? Girl? They coming to the bar? You guys coming?
Just stop
The
the
tornado weather just hit back home today.
You guys are from
Oklahoma.
They're from Atlanta. I gotta remember who's who. I don't get a whole lot from Oklahoma. I don't get a whole lot from
There's not a lot of people from Oklahoma.
last week. I was wearing shorts. I had shorts and a t-shirt on out here. Perfect. It was like 68 degrees at night.
That would be nice.
But last night, I had hand warmers in my pocket.
Now, it's a tad chilly.
Bless you.
Bless you.
This is honestly like I can go down with a fire.
I'm doing this. Oh, we're going in the alley, right?
Yeah, just go as still as possible. Without flash on there. Hey, you caught up. I was worried about you guys. I'm like, there's a bar back there. Did we lose the girls?
We're good.
I also work
Perfect.
Hey, I think you're getting a phone call.
Oh, I was like, is that your girlfriend that has the duckling?
They all have the duck ring.
Alright, let's go ahead and cut that off. This is a quiet area because we're next to a hotel, so we're going to be very brief here. I just have to kind of give you a gist of why I asked you to listen for names. Did you hear anybody else?
I heard it.
What'd you get?
Steve?
No. Did you get any names?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, people used to live down here. This used to be one of our first streets of Charleston. So when we crossed that last cross over, the main street, this was the original Charlestown walls. So this was one of the first streets we ever had. So
This right here?
this right here, these two buildings weren't here. They had shotgun houses here. So I had the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. So I also have their occupation. So things come up here like grocer, mariner, fisherman, those kind of things. So also picture the peninsula of Charleston in your brain. Now, all the outside edge stuff is all man-made stuff that wouldn't have been here in the 1800s. The smell of low tide would have been coming through here quite a bit. These people were considered lower class. They did an archaeological dig, they found some of their tools and silverware, some of their clothing, and that's how they were able to classify it. They also found evidence of fires that occurred down here. So nothing that was really notable, but plenty enough to hurt the clay bricks that we're walking on. So the Masons also used to be down here, so the word Mason shows up quite a bit here. So again, I can't make this stuff up. In the event we actually have some evidence from one of our spirit boxes or a recording or something along those lines with the pictures, I'll definitely give you the links. I'll show you all of the list of residents of everybody that lived here to prove it. So when we cut through the rest of this alley, we're going to be in a neighborhood. Tour guides are not allowed to be tour guides in neighborhoods. So we're going to be passing through quietly, quickly, till we get to our next location. And then we're going to obviously keep the spirit box down. And then hopefully if we can get close to that cemetery, we're going to test out your lasers tonight and kind of see what we can do with this camera. So there's a cemetery story. He's already heard it from their tour the other night. But we're going to test out some things if we can get close to it. It's a very popular area, so if we can't get close to it, it's not a big deal. But there's more of an investigation at the Powder magazine for us. So questions, comments about this place? You're in Charleston. I had to show you some kind of old bricks or cobblestone. So just kind of how that rolls.
And these have been here for that long?
Yeah, early 1700s.
They told us something about them last night that some of them were used in ships to balance the ships, like that they would when they came over and they brought cargo and they went back out and it would empty loads.
They would take cobblestones in the ship with them to balance that, like to keep the weight where it needed to be. And
In the ship?
come back and whatever.
Very similar to
Only of the,
Yeah.
only of the lasers I
They're both
thought.
very large port cities. So they're not
this center line, some tour guides will tell you that this is like the exact latitude.
He said
of
take a
Charleston.
couple
I don't know why.
hundred pictures.
The latest way to drink. The only reason we're going to
45.
go up in the back.
I thought you took like 4 or 5. I need to stretch my back tonight. Lights are on when the car's off. Fresh tires.
Cool. I don't mind those. Those kind of lights. They're not like lighting up the hole underneath.
Look like they got fresh tires. Is that a helipad?
Slab, so I wouldn't think so.
Is it not?
Okay.
That leads to the courtyard.
It's like an angle.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Maybe it's just like a little roof.
It's just a
That's a roof for a roof. So people can chill on the roof. Except why would it end?
This is the cemetery we just at.
Oh yeah. My feet hurt. On my back. I'm complaining about dying in pain.
We should have taken this. This is light you were talking about.
Yeah. We're going to stop right here for a quick second. Did everybody see the beautiful alley that we passed? Did you guys see the brick alley going across that way when we came up the street? Did you guys miss it? Okay.
I missed it.
That's Philadelphia Alley. I used to
Okay, I
take
did see that.
Okay, I used to take tours down there. I do like to point out the gate that's in the wall back there. So that used to be called Dueler's Alley. So duels would occur there. So when there was a death, the dead body would go through that door, over this courtyard, and then over to St. Phillips Church. So that's why that door is there. Not many people actually know that's why it's there, but that's the reason. Again, duels didn't always end in death. So there's a big long story there where I used to take people investigating through it, but it's out of bounds for tours. So, but I do like to point out the death gate because it is pretty cool.
Can you unlock it?
What's that?
Can you unlock it?
I think it's not so much that it's worried about coming through the gate. It's going down the alley. It's residential.
I was just asking. It said on here to unlock it.
Really?
It said unlock.
I'm sitting here talking about a gate. That's cool. But it is locked. I don't know why. Probably because this courtyard belongs to, wherever this building is here. But it is locked. So let's go check out that crazy cemetery so we can flash those lights in there before another tour comes by and steals the spot.
Stand right there.
Stop here. And it's just
And
part of the
stomach.
legend. The sign you guys are looking at says it only goes to St. Phillips or the Holy Ghost. So you guys already heard this story. But the reason for that is in 1888, a young lady died 6 days after her stillborn child. In 1987, a local photographer comes into town and was taking pictures of all of our cemeteries and things like that. He captured a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her. So, there's no cell phones and Photoshop and all that mess. So he sends it to Kodak to get it debunked. And they can't debunk the picture. So they actually heard yesterday from another tour that the light that's shining right at us is to stop people like us from taking pictures and messing with their cameras to try to find this apparition, which I could see the church actually doing. Yep. Yep. Yeah, we did that on purpose, so like all of our pictures and video and that kind of thing will kind of be disrupted.
Most of the other, what she pointed out was that most of the other Charleston lights look like that one over to the right, where they're kind of like a white light.
That one there's a dome light.
And if you look down the sidewalk, they're almost all white except for the ones in the parking deck. Like you have white lights down the whole street. And then there's that one bright, obnoxious, horrible light that's facing towards you, so you can't even try and get a decent picture.
It'll definitely be interesting to see those pictures come up with something, especially since I changed the setting.
Trade me fast.
So we want to get that infrared light so I can really get kind of
They put this light out so you can't take pictures with flash to see orbs in it. There's literally a sign everywhere. It's like what? You only it's like
No, no, no.
I feel like they tell us like what did it say when we I'm not happy?
Unhappy.
Yeah.
sides to the cemetery. The other side was actually covered with a litter of people. So the other side of the cemetery is right behind me. This side is for people that aren't from Charleston. The side we were on is for people that were. So that's kind of how they separate the two. Now, John Calhoun is actually buried on this side because they didn't know if he was a native or not. He's in a sarcophagus, which is a giant concrete tomb above ground, and they just moved him across the street until they figured it out. So they found out he wasn't from here, so he's buried on this side. I know. Charleston's history is nuts. So there's a couple of legends that wrap around this whole corner, which is kind of why I moved this quickly, because this is very popular, and we got bars nearby, and so hopefully we can hear our spirit boxes when we start the investigation on the Powder magazine. But this is St. Phillips Church, obviously where we just were, but I told you guys about the big earthquake. St. Phillips steeple is off just a little bit. We can't see it, but when it's measured and tested, it is off based on that earthquake. So it is our tallest steeple, so if you ever get lost in Charleston, just look for St. Phillips, and that way you can kind of see where you're at. Just remember that this is on the eastern part of the water. There was on the other side of this cemetery, there's a house. Somebody still lives there, and it's called the Pirate House because that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships, and they would have a few drinks, meet with a few ladies, and then they dug a tunnel underground from the Pirate House 1 block over to Dock Street Theater. So Dock Street Theater used to be a hotel with prostitution, but it was also a playhouse. So they would go over there to work because pirates tie really good knots, and we're talking about a playhouse. So curtains, and they worked behind the scenes, but they also had prostitution. So we can only imagine that things will keep it PG. So,
and where was that?
So Dock Street, this used to be Dock Street. So it is 1 block away from the first house from at the edge of the cemetery.
So who lives in Pirate House now?
Just a local resident.
Really?
Yep. So we have a lot of houses like that that are small in stature, but their history is so huge, like they're worth
where
millions.
was the theater?
The theater was 1 block away from the Pirate House that way.
Other side. Okay.
Right, and that is, there's residents around that, or else I would take you there. So again, it's a weird thing that we have to follow. So again, I told you that used to be called Planters Hotel, but there's obviously ghosts in Dock Street Theater. It is listed as one of the top 10 haunted locations in America. However, I don't get a whole lot of evidence, but of course there's a ghost story. There was a young lady that worked at the church. Her name was Nettie Dickerson, and she was past the marrying age of 17. Nobody wanted to marry her at the age of 23. Can that guy be any louder?
Probably.
Like, I feel like I'm screaming at you guys.
Is that the dude that was in the fist fight last week?
No,
It sounds like
not.
it.
Anyway,
That guy
so
got his nose broken.
nice. So Nettie Dickerson, she sees everything that's going on down at Planters Hotel. She puts on a red dress and she goes down there and gets herself a job because she can't get married. She's too old. So she's the best loved girl in the whole place, but she's still not happy. So she actually used to go out to the second story balcony and ponder about coming back to the church. So the priest sees her out there one night. He goes down there to convince her to come back. And a storm rolls in. Lightning strikes the wrought iron banister that she's leaning on, and it kills her. Now, the interesting thing about the story is that you can see her ghost from the knees up only. Why? Is because we renovated Dock Street Theater in the early 2000s. So she's walking on the second floor that she knows because we raised the first floor ceiling. So, if that makes sense. It took some nerd like me to say, why do I have such a short ghost and I can't see the bottom of her dress? So he went into the construction of the building and said, that makes sense. She's walking on the second floor that she knows. So, let's talk about the powder magazine, which is this building over here that looks like it has crosses on it. Did anybody explain earthquake bolts to you guys? So earthquake bolts are pretty simple. So after our big earthquake of 1886, the city got scared, so they start putting these rods through the floors of certain buildings or through the roof. With this one, happens to be through the roof. The rods, the whole gist of that is if we get another earthquake and a building is quaked, then we can tighten the bolts and the building will stand back upright again. That's the gist of it. So those are the very first earthquake bolts that we put in are on the powder magazine. So that's what those crosses are. It's basically two crossbars, and you can see they're not even cut evenly. There's a bolt in the center of them, so when we get closer, you'll be able to see it. But that's the whole gist of that. Now the powder magazine held gunpowder. So it is literally, I told you guys, this is where the Charlestown Wall was. It came up Cumberland Street. So it went up about half a block past powder magazine. So the powder magazine is literally sitting in the corner where the two walls would come to a corner. The reason for that is because if it were to get attacked from the water this way and get penetrated, there's 32-inch thick walls. The cannonball's probably not going to go through. But in the event it does, there's sand in the roof. It'll blow the sand up, the gunpowder will explode, and then the sand will fall and put out the flames. So another stupid move, and it doesn't work. We had another powder magazine exactly designed the same way towards the battery. It did get attacked. The sand went up in the air and did not extinguish the flames. It blew up and burned down. So this one was never attacked, so obviously it's still standing. I think the placement of it was probably smarter than the stature of the way it was built. So the interesting thing about this building is it is the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. It was finished in 1713. There is still sand in the roof from 1712. Sand doesn't disintegrate, so it's still there. It's a museum now. If you're into wartime stuff, it has all the different uniforms from all the different wars that it served. But it's really cool to actually check it out. It's really cheap to go through too. It's like 30 minutes, $5 a person. Really cool place to see. Not to mention the oldest government building on the East Coast. So, during the time that this was built, we have a pirate story. Of course we do. It's Charleston. Gotta have a pirate story, right? Did you guys learn about Anne Bonny?
I think we
About
heard
which
the-
one?
Anne Bonny?
Yes.
We heard
Okay.
the name last night.
Every tale of Anne Bonny is different, and that's exactly why we're here. This is your final test and exam for your tools that you guys have. This is where you guys are going to ask whatever questions you want because there's too many holes in the story and every version's different. I've read 5 different books on Anne Bonny and Mary Read. They're all different. Here's how I got it. 1708, she moved to town with her father. Why? Because he ran away from his wife in Ireland and picked up his mistress and his daughter and came here. He was too afraid of his wife, so his mistress was his maid. That was Anne's mother. They move here. She grows up. She's able to see this building being built and finished. Again, we don't have many buildings this old in Charleston. That's why the ghost is tied to this location. I know, I'm boring. This story sucks, but it's long. The story's long, unfortunately. So she moves here. By the time she turns into a teenager, the building is finished, and then there's pirates coming to town. She falls in love with one of them. His name is James Bonny. Dad disapproves. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. She's now Anne Bonny instead of Anne Cormac. So she wanted a badass pirate. James Bonny was not that pirate. He turned into a privateer, which basically made him a spy for the British. So what happens from there? She falls in love with another pirate a couple of years later. His name's Calico Jack. Of course, he's a young, up-and-coming pirate, very handsome, and now he has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. He says, you can be part of it. You can be a female in my quarters, but you got to be a male on the crew. So she dresses up like a guy. She's part of the crew. She's being a pirate finally after years of living in Jamaica with James. So, by the way, Calico Jack tried to buy the dowry from James, and James said no. So this whole time, she's still married to James. She's just having a massive affair with Calico Jack. Oh, great. It's all tour season right now. So, of course, being a female in his quarters only, she gets pregnant eventually. And what's he do? Calico Jack drops her off in Cuba. Says, I can't have a female on my ship. Females curse pirate ships. So he drops her off while she's pregnant. He says, come back to the ship dressed as a male, and we'll figure out the baby thing when you get back. But she returns to the ship with no baby. We don't know what happened to that baby. But she's dressed like a female. She no longer gives a damn about hiding her gender. And Calico Jack's mad. During the time that she was gone with her pregnancy, Calico Jack captured another ship, so there's prisoners down below deck. She decides she's going to go flirt with those prisoners. We got a third guy, in case you guys lost count. So she goes downstairs and she's flirting with these guys, and she finds out that the one she's really flirting with was doing the exact same thing she was doing to get part of Calico Jack's ship. This was a person dressed like a male, but it was really a female. So this person reveals their gender, the two become friends. Her name is Mary Reed. She convinces Mary to become part of the crew. Now, during the time that her and Mary, they're both dressed as females now, they don't care, the ship gets invaded by the British. All the other men are downstairs too drunk, guarding the prisoners from the last capture, and it's Anne and Mary taking on the British on their own. Now, obviously the ship gets captured. Two females against the whole British fleet is not going to work out very well. All the pirates downstairs get tried and hung for piracy. Anne and Mary, they get tried a week later because they fought back. That was November 28th, 1720, a little over 300 years ago. Now, they both reveal themselves as female to the judge. He doesn't care. He still convicts them for piracy. And now they say, we plead our bellies, which basically means they both claim to be pregnant. Didn't do anything for the piracy conviction, but it did delay their hanging. Dad here in Charleston has enough money to bail her out. Allegedly, Anne gets bailed out, comes back to Charleston, lives a long, happy life, remarries, has plenty of children, and dies at the age of 84. Why we have so many details that are specific, 84, remarried, all of those things, no clue. They're all different. However, Mary Reed dies in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. That's all the details we have on her. Now, we're going to explore this half of the lot away from the tours, turn up our spirit boxes, ask whatever questions you want. You have a spirit box as well. If you guys want to head to the front of the building, you can. Because the front of the building, you can basically shine your lights on. This is an apartment building, so I try not to shine any lasers on the back here. But if you guys want to take some pictures on the lot like we did at the Pinckney Mansion site, by all means, keep filming on your end. If you want to go up to the front with them, if they want to go, you guys kind of collaborate however you want to go. I'm going to play with the millimeter here. Okay. This is a dead zone for the EMF, so I want to test the millimeter to see what it does here. It does nothing in here, but this is where
Is that always the case here?
So when I do get a spike on there, I usually have something significant there.
Okay.
So what I will tell you is this is also the same exact location over the weekend where I had two pieces come up on the thermal imaging camera that I was like, holy cow, what the hell is that? That's what I have to turn into my evidence folder, so that way it's easily clipped, like the video I showed you earlier. Something like that. So I'm going to be testing my millimeter. You guys are going to ask questions, and you're going to kind of follow along with what Mom and Dad are doing. Ask a million questions. I want to see what you guys come up with. I don't care what you guys ask, just let me know what you ask, and that way I can see if I can prove it, or see which tale proves that part of the story. So let's see what we come up with. We're going to spend a good 10-15 minutes in here, so let's explore.
It's interesting because last night she said that roof was made of, she was like, this ugly red roof is relatively new. It's made of sand.
So it's not like, made of sand.
I will say,
what was that, Dad?
I read that story not too long ago about the female pirates playing pranks.
So is this the front of the building? Or
No.
Rusty, shine your light. Like it's your shoe level.
Can't hardly see it.
It feels so good.
Yeah. Well, we don't, New Orleans is the Mississippi or Lake Constantine.
Not on that one, because there's a good shine on the building.
Come on, man.
Let's do the whole.
Why did you not stay loyal?
So, what was the name of the ship you were on? How many children did you have?
That's a good question.
What was the name of your favorite child? George.
That'd be weird. Yeah.
What was your first husband's name? At what age did you go into prostitution? Why are you not talking to me?
Because you're mean. What town were you born in?
Did you die? Where did you die?
Did you die?
Not really. She's still here.
She just comes out the bushes.
How many people did you kill on the pirate ship?
284.
How long did you last against those pirates?
Five minutes.
Was she worrying about me?
What are you worried about?
What are you worried about? Scared me? Who?
Just throw a punch.
Look your nose.
Oh, are all these bolts
How
for the same
long?
thing?
How long did you pretend to be a female or a male on the pirate ship?
Well, that wasn't very clear. Are all these bolts? They they tighten these to keep them strong?
These. I don't know about those. There's like
I knew those.
Why did you want to be on a pirate ship so bad?
These kind of long answered questions. I guess that's what he asked for, though. He didn't ask for yes or no questions.
Say because. He just said don't say yes or no questions.
Yeah, that's what I just said. What color was the ship's mast?
What color were the ship's sails?
Sails. That's
What color was your hair? I guess I should have asked 2 color questions back to back. Did you think put his house next to
something. Who is your favorite boy toy?
Why did you leave your first husband?
Well, we already know that.
She doesn't know that. Oh. For a model.
Why did he
Did he
refer?
say? No, she remarried with a pirate. Another pirate.
Well, he shouldn't remarry a model.
No, she stayed married to the first guy.
Model pirate. Maybe he was a model pirate. Maybe he was a great pirate. Model pirate. Model could be used if a different term for back then.
Or she was a model at the whorehouse.
That's not even what you asked, though.
Were you the favorite lady at the whorehouse or pirate barn?
That's a yes or no question.
I hasn't said yes or no yet. So
Because I doesn't like yes or no questions.
voter. You saying it was up to a vote? What parking number am I standing on right now?
Imagine. No, not 47.
That's Carson's football number.
47.
Yeah.
Yours is 38. I'm so cool. Loaded. Getting out of frame, man. Everything's looking weird. Oh, it's because my finger was on the camera.
The thing is, like, you can't see it. The top of
There's a cross to the top.
it. I can see that, but if it was any taller, you wouldn't be able to see it.
No, it's kind of foggy too. Yeah, like look
What
up.
was the
Look at
name
his
of your
quotes.
second husband, the pirate you were?
What was the name of the ship?
I already asked her like that. I think she's annoyed at that question.
What did you talk about?
Who's Alexis?
I was about to ask a question.
I think it actually already said Alexis a long time ago.
Alexis, yeah.
Who? Yeah, who?
Here's Alexis.
Yeah, who's Alexis? Why do you keep saying Alexis? Who was your second husband? Can you tell me his name?
No.
Chloride? I don't think chloride was a thing.
Yeah. Hey, shut up, kid.
Because that's just chlorine and oxygen. It's chlorine.
Look at you being all sciencey.
I mean, chemistry.
I'm in physical science.
What's that? Why is it like misting?
Oh, look straight up. Look right there.
Yeah, I
I
know.
bet it's just
I've
a-
been seeing it go through that light over there. I think it might be misting.
Nah, but it's just a fog, man. I want to sit down.
Yeah, me too. Looks like a nice night.
Getting some words.
Yeah, what are you getting over there?
Cement.
Sorry, I haven't followed up with anybody. I've been chatting with you guys. Any piratey terms?
Did that say chloride?
Yeah, I said chloride just a second ago.
Voter.
We got model whenever we were asking about the house you said down there.
Okay.
No, we weren't asking. Yeah.
The only word that excites me out of this is voter, because pirates did have a democracy on their ships. They all voted. They voted for their captain. Everybody had a vote. Like that's probably the only term that I'm excited about so far out of that. Wow.
We got no when we were walking away from the sign over there.
That unhappy came up right when we got to that cemetery over there.
So I wonder if it was either the Sue Howard Hardy with the lady in the apparition picture.
Yeah.
It actually came up, I think, right when you started talking about the little girl.
Okay.
And then as soon as we started walking away, I looked down and we were on the street, and it just no popped up.
Well, you gotta remember, this thing's gonna come up with weird things. It says "Daddy, no," Alice, yes, all kinds of weird, stupid things that are meant to scare people. Please unlock. very specific. Like George is super awesome. And what's funny is I had the word wood come up there twice last week at the Pinky Mansion site, and I'm like, wasn't there a president affiliated with wood? My daughter was with me. She's like, yeah, Lincoln. I'm like, pretty sure it was Washington. He had wooden teeth. His dentures were made out of wood.
Forgot about that.
Not all of them.
So again, just one of those. Okay, I'll take it. Especially since it showed up twice. There's Alexis again.
Yeah, Alexis came up
Alexis
twice.
came up but just a little bit
Yeah.
ago.
I don't know. All right, let me see what they caught up, and then let's check out the front, and we'll call this.
walk around front?
Yeah, you can walk around front. I definitely want to get some film and some pictures in there if there's nobody.
Okay.
I was gonna ask something.
I want to know what happened to her, the child she left in Jamaica. How do you go have a baby?
Oh yeah,
And
what
then
happened
you
to it?
just leave it? Did she know who she left it with?
Yeah, I'm assuming it just disappeared one day.
Did she, I mean, maybe you just
Spider.
dropped off on an island.
I'm totally gonna go walk up and join this tour.
So they built a new one that was further away, and that one blew up, and that's where the jail is. This one survived, and it's now open as a museum.
I see a cannon over there.
No, you don't.
Yeah, dude, laying on the ground right there. There's one right
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, right there.
I like humans.
Good. Good. So close to everybody. All you're doing is eating a video of his back. He's right.
All right, you getting me some cool pictures?
I hope so.
Me too.
Yeah, George Washington. He did have wooden dentures, but he also would pull teeth from his slaves and jam them in his
You
mouth.
guys are taking pictures
And dead
listening.
people.
I'm going to collect a
Enough.
few of these inactive devices. I'm probably got the favorite jacket.
Oh, don't touch me. That was freezing.
Again, this was perfect temperature for me.
It actually feels milder than it did the last couple of nights.
Well, you can see, look how foggy the steeple was. That storm's rolling in.
Yeah, it did look really. Oh, you can't even see the
You
top
can't see
anymore.
the top anymore. You could a minute ago.
About 5 years. I've been in South Carolina for about 9. I'm originally from Ohio.
Have you done the same thing in like all the states?
No, I did do an investigation at Gettysburg with 3 different locations. I'll go ahead and which camera is this? Your camera. Sorry, way to rearrange my stuff. So I've done